Welcome to the Funny Carpenter. Today I'm going to share with you three simple tips to help you not only avoid flooding your house, but also burning it to the ground by screwing into an electrical wire. So perhaps you're just starting out in the cabinet installation business, or you're a homeowner and you've purchased a whole kitchen from Ikea, or you've got one of those little pre-assembled bathroom units from the Home Depot, and you're looking to make your dreams come true by installing it yourself and saving a bunch of money. The last thing you want to do is screw into a water pipe, an electrical wire, a plumbing pipe. Even a heating duct can be a bit of a disaster. So after nearly a lifetime of experience, I'm going to share with you three simple tips that are going to greatly reduce the chance that this will happen to you. Tip number one, use the appropriate length screw. If you use 3-inch screws to screw your cabinets to the wall, you will absolutely hit something. It's only a matter of time. How do I know this? I was 16 years old, working for my dad. I finally got to do something that wasn't cleanup. I got to install a bathroom vanity. Grabbed some screws, cut out for the pipes, screwed it into the wall using a 3-inch screw. Pandemonium. I hit a water pipe. There was water everywhere. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming. It was a couple years before I got to do anything fun again. So what you want to do when you're screwing cabinets to the wall is use the right length screw. Most cabinet installers will use a 2.5-inch screw. Now why that is because you have your cabinet back, say it's a 3/4-inch material. You may have to calibrate the length of screw depending on what size cabinet back you have. But the average cabinet back is about 3/4, 5/8, sometimes 7/8. So you have your cabinet back, you're going through 1/2-inch drywall, and you want to always keep your screw 1.25 into the stud, never into this 1-inch strip. Inside this 1-inch strip is where plumbers will run water pipes, electricians will staple their wires. They're always taught to keep their stuff in the middle of the stud. So if you use a 3-inch screw, you're going through the back of the cabinet, through the drywall, bang, you're right in the middle of the stud. That's how you're going to hit something. So use 2.5-inch screws. Even nowadays, if I run out of 2.5-inch screws, I'll take 3-inch screws or 3.5-inch screws, whatever I have. And then I'll just cut them down with side cutters. You don't want to mess with screwing into the middle of a stud. If you do, you're gonna hit something, I guarantee it. So tip number two is something that you should avoid at all costs. It has to do with finding studs. Now, even if you have the gold standard of stud sensors, the Franklin stud sensor, you think you found your stud. You mark out the exact middle of the stud, and there's nothing there. Now what you don't want to do, and this is extremely dangerous, I've seen numerous guys drill into water pipes this way. You don't want to just take your impact driver with your 2.5-inch screw and start drilling close and close, drilling searching holes, trying to find out where the stud is. What ends up happening is even if you do find the stud, you might drill it in too far. You're back into the middle of the stud because there's no cabinet back there and you hit a water line. Or you take your impact driver, you miss the stud, you're into the drywall, it gouges in, hits something, you're like, it's hitting something, it's a water pipe. What you want to do, the wall tap, figure out where the stud most likely is depending on the sound. I'm not going to get into all the different sounds, but you can feel and hear when you're hitting something more solid than just hollow wall. So once you're kind of in that area, your stud sensor says it's over here, you've missed in a certain spot, take a hammer and a screw and put a little test hole in there. Now what this does is it gives you a little feel and it's precaution. When you hammer this in and you hit wood, you're not going to go any further, so you're not going to get into the middle of the stud. And if you miss the stud and you're hammering into a blank space, you'll feel right away that there's nothing back there and you won't go any further. With the drill, danger everywhere. And tip number three is a tip exclusively when it comes to installing kitchen sink cabinets or bathroom vanities and how to avoid water lines. Important thing to know before you start screwing into the wall is where is the water shutoff for the house. Is it in the basement? It's usually in the basement or the main floor by the hot water tank. You may want to have a quick check. If it's your own home, you know where it is. If you're installing it in somebody else's house, it's always worth it to figure that out before you hit a water pipe. So you know where the water source is coming from. Let's say you're installing a vanity on the top floor of the house. So if you're on the top floor, the water's poking out right here. There's a very, very high probability that the water pipe does not extend up, because this is the top floor, this is the end of the line. So if you screw your cabinet in up high in the top rail of the vanity cabinet, you're not going to have any problems. Use the 2.5-inch screws, you should be good to go. Now if you're on the middle floor or in the basement, there's a good chance that the water pipe runs all the way up along the stud. So what I like to do in this situation, you're in the basement or on the main floor, if you can, don't screw anything into this stud. I mean, if you can get like 2 screws into a vanity sink cabinet, that's more than enough. If you can only get 1 screw and you have another cabinet over here that's attached to it, that's fine. Your best bet is always to avoid the water pipe stud. And if you can't avoid them, make sure you use the 2.5-inch screw. Make sure you know exactly where the center of the stud is. If you're not 100% sure, use that method with the screw and the hammer to make sure you find out where it is. And something else to avoid, say your water pipe, they're usually coming out kind of mid-cabinet. Never ever, under any circumstance, screw on the level of the water pipe. Water pipes will be running horizontal, so never put screws on the level that the pipe is coming out of the wall. And I almost never put screws in below in the bottom part of the cabinet unless you absolutely have to. It doesn't really do a lot in terms of securing the cabinet because the bottom is not going anywhere. So you get your screws in the top of the cabinet. You stay above the water pipe on the top floor, on the middle floor, and the basement floor. If you can avoid screwing into the stud where the water pipe is teeing out, do so. If you have to screw into that, definitely make sure you have the 2.5-inch screw. You want to be extremely cautious around water pipes. And if you're trying to install cabinets in your home and you're struggling with whatever, definitely reach out to me in the comments. I will help you. That's the reason that I started the channel, to help people improve their living space. And if you're one of the subscribing types, give this guy a little poke in the eye down here, and we'll see you on the next video.